When I wasn't shoveling snow, I was working at a corner store on 7 Mile and Beeland, counting 10-cent soda bottles after school. I would have my friends return bottles and hike up the count so we could make an extra dollar or two. This was early on hustling for me. After school, I'd bust a rap or two on the playground. Exciting the crowd was fun, until your opponents come back pulling out a wad of cash and calling you broke to an audience of fly girls. The crowd's cheers declaring the winner tend to motivate a game changer. Sometimes I wasn't even the one rapping. I was affected by the crowd's reaction nonetheless. My game changer happened while getting paid after shoveling snow. The homeowner dug inside her purse, sifting through $100 bills. I was excited by the sight of the Benjamins as she rummaged around, searching for $10 to square us off. Since that day, my hustle changed. I used my shovel as a roost or prop to B&E homes. I got my first taste of taking things into my own hands literally. At the store, I'd line my jacket with stolen goods after counting bottles. It was becoming more apparent to me that I benefited more from the by any means necessary method.
Mama, I done killed a man. Ain't no repentance. Since it's God's will, he give killers forgiveness.
Fugitive. A person of interest for a homicide in Saginaw, Michigan. I was on the run for 3 months. The paranoia of facing a life sentence didn't stop or slow my hustle. I still trafficked drugs and hung out at familiar stomping grounds. It was later ruled justifiable homicide, after the homicide detectives mocked the death of the habitual criminal of the robbery gone awry, stating that I did them a favor and calling the deceased a big gorilla. This gave me my first glimpse of just how cold and twisted our justice system was. Here I am, a teenager, sitting across from 2 homicide detectives who are supposed to protect and serve, not crack jokes on a murder victim, then pat the killer on the back. I left the interrogation room confused and feeling invincible. I just be the body. Not long after, I caught another case, a drug charge for possession with the intent to distribute in Mansfield, Ohio. I wound up serving 6 years in federal prison. As soon as the shackles were off my feet, I went straight back to my hustle. A few years later, I was back on the run for 3 years for a state conspiracy charge in Traverse City, Michigan. That didn't stop anything. I hustled even harder.
Yeah, got the block slapping, nigga come through clapping. Real talk, real rap, man, we ain't just rap. 100 G's on the wristband. 200 keys in the bricks tan.
Recording studio. I sold thousands of pounds of marijuana to support my rap career. I was living what I rapped about. Cash, groupies, luxury cars, violence, and more violence. Sometimes the recording studio looked like public housing. Thugs, strippers, liquor bottles, smoke, guns, and packed hallways. In the booth was my space, reciting lyrics. People loved what I said over underground beats. My music was intended to provide the listeners with an understanding of all that we go through trying to survive plus thrive in the hood. Rapping opened doors for me. It allowed people to believe in something bigger than themselves. We didn't see rappers making it off music from the hoods in Detroit. So to see us pushing DWI records independently, but in a major way, gave the people who saw me every day hope. I would then take all that energy and hit the booth to rap about things that I needed to happen. I was speaking things into existence. A few of my partners thought I had a gift. Every time I went into the booth and rapped about having something, for example, a new car, crib, plug, etc., it came to fruition. They didn't realize I was purely manifesting. And the more people I got to chant this along with me, the more concentrated energy to make it happen.
2 feet on the ground, 2 guns up high. It's the aim for the sky, Fall short, dog, nigga, don't cry. We let them know it's DWI.
Federal prison. Federal prison warehouses the best hustlers who'd ever done it. Inside, it's all about the prison life. Prison tools consisted of weight pit, reading, religion, gangs, all sharpening criminal skills. Preying on the weak and embracing anger, the only real feelings left. I was fortunate to have met an inmate who was holistic and health conscious. He befriended me and I began eating healthy. The benefits of becoming a vegan came swiftly. My body felt good inside and out. It cleared my vision. It allowed my natural physical and mental strength to unfurl. I began to measure myself to other prisoners and could easily determine how much stronger, quicker, and smarter I was than the average guy. I couldn't get enough of reading knowledge and self-awareness books. I became in tune with spirituality, albeit not religious. Reading poetry, philosophy, and Black history books opened my mind. I could see beyond the prison's 20-foot walls. The ever-present dead gray tint that cast prison's atmosphere appeared as lively colors through my mind's eye. Nearby doing morning calisthenics, not even the aggressive clanging of dumbbells in the weight pit could be heard from my serene standpoint. The hellish condition ran hot through everyone, prison guards included. Rage, inflamed emotion, fiery words, all insulated in concrete and steel. Changing the way I looked at things made my prison experience far less stressful. I applied what I learned at the criminal university to the prison yard and immediately put it towards my hustle as soon as I got released.
On my way out, I asked the Lord why. You know we just killers with good hearts, drug dealers with goals. We play the game how it goes. I'ma get money till the curtains is closed.
State prison. Rhyming and hustling paid off for me in major ways. It took my hustle to various cities and states. Atlanta, Florida, Arizona, California, and the in-between. Eating healthy and living a plush life. High-rises, condos, mansions, luxury cars, high-end restaurants, celebrity friends, industry chicks, everything VIP. Of course, I brought the hood with me. My homeboys with an east side, west side Detroit state of mind. The places we had tore up and shut down, hotels, clubs, concerts, wherever we went, we lived up to the saying, you could take a person out the hood, but not the hood out of a person. It wasn't long before I was back in prison for 4 more years. Being vegan in prison proved harder the second time around, coming from eating nutrient-balanced meals to limited or no substitution catered toward health. This was by far my biggest test. I was battling stress from every angle. I had children now, more responsibilities. I was no longer the teenager who had to learn from his mistakes. On top of having a promising rap career in music, I had to get out. I fought for my freedom in the appellate courts until I won. 4 years later, I was finally granted a reversal in the Michigan State Supreme Court of Appeals. They overturned one of my conspiracy charges and then ordered the trial judge to release me. This was not only a victory for myself, but also for other defendants as my case set a precedent. It was time to get back to the hustle.
Calculated risk, making boss best logistics. Important shipments, my attention on important business. Health and hustle, no more struggling. Investments doubling. Till I get a Billy, ain't no cuddling.
Health and hustle. Back in the studio making music. Although my material hadn't changed, its message and inspiration transcended a hood mentality. I had billboards that expressed my record label's logo and motto, DWI Records, we the ticket out the hood. Evidence of my change was also seen in my company. My homeboys were affected by the positive energy. Now they had a professional attitude in the studio, and everyone wanted to take care of business rather than party. I turned health and hustle into a brand. It became a motivating factor in many people's lives close to me. The health and hustle principles became a guidepost. It shined on my personal relationships with record execs and prominent people, so many positive interactions. At one of my video shoots in Detroit, I drove an executive from Epic Records through my old neighborhood. We stopped by the Heidelberg Project. They were amazed at the contrast of hope and desolation. I remember thinking, wow, Tyree Guyton is a man of vision. Who would have thought that a bunch of old dolls and tires will one day be recognized as art and monumental in the city of Detroit? Wow. Now I can see the flourishing future he imagined for my old neighborhood. Introducing LA. While driving up the coast one afternoon, as I'd done many times before, the palm trees, the ocean, the whole scene, it was like I was seeing it for the first time. I pulled my car over to a recluse beach and began feeding shorebirds sunflower seeds as I stood in shallow water, still in my shoes, enjoying life as never before. Everything was new from then on. Straight talk. As a prisoner, I found a way to change my mental environment. This allowed me to see the bigger picture and not get caught up in the day-to-day BS of prison politics and frustrations of being in physical slavery. I have a friend who is currently doing a life sentence. He will run a prison store stocking up on food and extra commissary to sell or loan out to prisoners for extra. This is how he made money to survive. Every week when other inmates got their commissary, he would collect from them. He would open his cell door and blast my music from a cassette tape we smuggled in through the prison church, while the inmates who borrowed from him came to pay their debts. Those who didn't pay saw a different person. The doors were closed and he would fuck them up. It was known that if you borrowed from his store, you better pay up. I saw him in action. I pulled him to the side one day and told him, if you plan on going home one day, don't allow ramen noodle to stop you from gaining your freedom. Long story short, he took my advice and started running his store differently. He's been incarcerated now for 22 years. With the help of the Innocent Project, he is scheduled to get his life sentence overturned in the next few years. To add, he has earned numerous certifications, college credits, and has become a notable speaker at different colleges, all from inside the prison walls due to him changing his perception. You can allow your environment to turn you into an animal, or you can use your mind to take the mental shackles away, allowing you to place precedence on the bigger goal at hand. A hustler has to first assess every component of his environment to evaluate all that can be deemed useful or useless, combining what is useful with their skill set to either create a product or service and then zero in on the demand. Bag it up. The belief that we are products of our environment is a gross disservice to ourselves and our interaction with others. It takes away self-control and surrenders it to prejudice and misconception. The majority designates which environment shall be heaven or hell. Public housing over here, condominiums over there, red district in this area, upscale neighborhood in that area. Buying into such devised conditions, you may not have considered that the inner city doesn't necessitate rundown homes and poverty no more than suburbia has to be safe and affluent. Our conduct always reflects our environment. Bullets and crime tend to accompany blight and dilapidation in the inner cities, whereas peace, calm, and intact homes fill the outskirts. It explains why people are quick to break laws on East 7 Mile in the city, but abide by every public ordinance when they cross 8 Mile in the burbs. This is learned behavior. This code does not suggest you live under delusions. Yes, duck when gunfire is heard. Move your family to a safe location when able. Where one person or group imposes their mental environment on us, know that you can push back. Take into consideration that if the majority of people are living a certain way, that can affect you and your loved ones. Do not be naive to think that you will not become a statistic. If you live on a battlefield, there will be casualties. All it takes is one individual to spark inspiration in others to see your vision. Remember, majority rules. Moving forward, your environment should fuel you to boss up and level up. If you are looking out the window at blight, chaos, or danger, this should motivate you to overcome the fear of your environment. Dig deep and seek the answers to change those abandoned houses into paradise and palm trees. You have a choice to either change your environment or complain and wallow in filth. Some people are stuck in a complaining mentality which never changes anything. What it does is aggravate the situation and circumstances. Once you accept the fact that your environment is a problem, then and only then can you initiate the necessary tools for a change. Simply put, you take two individuals and place them in the same environment, and they can have totally different outcomes. Your mindset creates your environment. Note, it's imperative to understand that adapting to your environment is an act of simply trying to make life easier or increase your chances of survival. That's called evolutionary adaptation. Our goal in this chapter is to awaken the mindset of the listener to not just think of merely surviving in someone else's environment, but to think independently enough to create their own environment that serves them and their purpose in life. Chapter 2. Fear. The only thing to fear is dying silent. Your voice should make the earth shake in life and death. Fear is conceived through the mind-body complex, a product of our thoughts and feelings. Though fear itself is an illusion, it still spreads like a virus. It is your mental environment that makes fear seem real, depending on how you perceive it. People are trained to fear. Contrary to popular belief, it